Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Book Talk with Kara. And today I have my friend Pat Bradley with me, and I cannot tell you, she just made my day because she told me she just stayed up late reading Flight Risk. And so I'm a little like giddy right now. But Pat, it is so much fun to have you here, friend. And I have been a fan of your books for so many years. And we are here to talk about your brand new release, Deadly Revenge. And it's another classic Pat book because you've got this suspense and the romance and just all the fun things going on. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the book and a little bit about your journey into writing as we get started?
Okay, Deadly Revenge. And I called it something else the whole time I was writing it, so
And
it's
it's so
hard.
hard to get that out of our heads because,
It
like, the book
is.
I'm writing right now, I know it has a title. I can never remember it because it's not what I gave it. And so I'm like, it's a book.
Yeah, that book. Yeah, and
Yeah, exactly.
this is the third book in the Pearl River series. Most of my books have been set in Mississippi, but I had a hankering to go to the mountains, and so it's set around Chattanooga, and the heroine originally worked as a detective with the gang unit in Chattanooga, and her she was shot and came home to not Logan Point. See, that's the book I'm working on now.
I know they do. They just start coming together in our minds,
They
don't they?
do, they do, in Pearl Springs. And anyway, she came home to recuperate, and well, not really recuperate. She came home, took a job with the sheriff there, or the chief deputy, as a as a sheriff's deputy, because there was a lot of politics going on with her job in Chattanooga. So, and I don't know. Jenna has been in all three books, and I knew I wanted to tell her story. So I didn't know I was going to try to kill her, but I did know that I wanted to tell her story.
No, it's so fun because, you've got this Pearl River series and she's been showing up in all of the books and now it's her turn. It's like her hand's been raised and now finally it's her turn. But you've got this dam, you've got eminent domain, you've got killings. I mean, it is a classic Patricia Bradley book with lots going on, and the setting is key to everything. But what was it that kind of made it all come together? And you're like, ooh, this is the combination of things that's going to make it Jenna's story.
I think it was the eminent domain because I was at my water aerobics class, and I was trying to come up with I have to know what the crime is going to be, and I have to know why. And I was asking my pool buddies, and different ones said something, and somebody said eminent domain, and it just clicked
Mhm.
because I have known I haven't known the people who were killed, but eminent domain really leaves a lot of tension, or brings in a lot of tension,
Mhm.
and people are usually, if they're in the if eminent domain becomes one of their bywords, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion
Yeah,
around the idea that the government's coming in and they're going to take your property for whatever reason, and there
right,
has to be a government purpose. I mean, I'm a lawyer, I know all the like legal things that have to happen, but
right.
there's emotion behind that, and so people can get off. It's so easy to see why they would get like, no, you're not taking mine, it's mine.
It's been
It's
in our family for 100 years,
yeah, exactly.
that sort of thing, and then, uh, but it's supposed to be for the good of the people. And I thought, well, what if one of the people whose property was seized finds out that it wasn't for the good of the people? It was the lines, so
Yeah.
that was it was the line a politician's pocket, but which politician? So it it just was a fascinating concept for me. And I had been through the eminent domain twice,
Oh
because
gosh.
in North Mississippi we're famous for our 2-lane highways. And of course, we all wanted the 4-lane highway, but we also, people wanted to be paid a fair price. And most people some people didn't get the same offer that others did. And so, and that also came, why would these people get more than these? And so it became a very hot topic in our area.
Yeah, and
The
it's
surveyors were shot at,
oh my goodness. So yeah,
literally.
you've got some real experience with this.
Yeah.
So as you got digging into it, what were some of the things that as you were, kind of pulling together the plot that you were like, "Ooh, I wasn't expecting to find that," or this was a way that the plot went that I just really didn't anticipate.
Probably the dam being blown up.
Yeah, that would do
I
it.
I actually anticipated blowing the dam up, and had actually called a friend who blows dams up. He blows up beaver dams, but the principle is the same. And so I was asking him, how how can I blow up the dam? And so he proceeded to tell me over the phone, and I'm going to Memphis to a writers group. And about 10 minutes later, he stopped and he said, let's meet in person. I don't think we need to be talking about this over the phone.
I can see where that would be a conversation you'd want to have, face to
In
face.
person, yeah. So
Oh my goodness. So was there something that you wish you could have included in the book, but you were like, man, if I do this, it's just gonna derail things and it's not gonna be as interesting for the readers as it was for me.
well, sometimes I do that. I go off. I am a plotter, pantster, pantster, plotter. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Plancer.
like it's like driving in the fog. I can only write as far as I can see, so I will only outline as far, like, you can only drive as far as your headlights can see. And so when I'm working, and that's on this book I'm working on now, I've got to go back and I've got to plot as far as I can see. And so I will sometimes take rabbit trails and then have to back up. And right now I can't think of anything because I put pretty well everything in there.
Yeah. I love that. Well, and sometimes, I can think of books where I've turned it in and I'll tell my editor, I think it's fat and sassy. I think we're gonna have to take some stuff out. And then they'll be like, no, no, everything that's in here needs to stay. And I'm like, okay, I tried. So
I'm a lean writer. So there's not a lot of room to take anything out for me.
yeah, no, that's great. That's a
Yeah,
good way to be.
right.
So and I know that this has been a challenging season, and so when you think about, life can be tough. There can be a lot going on outside of the writing journey. What unexpected joy have you found maybe through writing as you've been, walking through kind of a dark personal time?
Well, for me, writing allows me to create a world that I sort of control.
Yeah.
And I know I've heard people say, talk about, well, my characters either quit talking to me or they did this or that. And so they look at me, you're the writer, you can make them do anything you want. No, you can't.
Yeah.
You really can't make they have to remain true to who their character is. And so to me, that's the main part of writing, and the joy that I find is finding out who those characters are and how they overcome problems that I mean, the world, everybody seems to think that Christians don't have problems, and that's
Mhm.
one of the reasons that I write, is because I like to show how Christians do solve their problems differently from a lot of people, and
Yeah.
where uh, our reliance on God comes in, and we have a helper who helps us get through things. And so, and I like to show that in my books.
Yeah, and you do it so beautifully. And
Mine
it's
are not overtly Christian. I don't think it's a subtle message, but I think it's one, and I have crossover readers. So that means a lot of people are getting God's message in small doses.
Yes, absolutely. And that's how, I love to write in that way where, sometimes it's more overt and other times it just depends on
Right.
what the characters and where they are and who they are.
Yeah.
So you've been writing for a long time. You know a lot of people, but when you think of like if you could plan a day with a author, who's an
Mm.
author that you might like to just kind of hang out with for a day and spend time with?
Oh gosh, I have so many friends who are. How about you? I'd love because see, I do a lot. I work a lot of legal stuff into my books, so I think I'd like to hang out with you and pick your brain a little bit.
That would be so much fun. I think we should arrange that sometime.
Yeah,
Um, so what's your schedule like when you write a book? When you're in the middle of like you've got a deadline November 1st.
yeah.
This book's coming out November 5th. So what's your schedule like when you're in the middle of like all this intense like deadlines and things happening?
Okay, it means that I'll have a word count, and I write in Scrivener, and it tells me how much I have to have each day in order to meet that deadline. And right now, I'm not doing that. I'm not hitting it, but I will. And it is a matter of discipline,
Mhm.
and it's a matter of and I think, well, I don't even know where the story's going, but I have found that if I sit down and start writing something, be it only a grocery list, then the words will start coming and the plot will start coming, and I'll be able, and then, and oh, okay. Oh, that's the way we're going. And one time I was riding along and it's, oh, you're the murderer. Because
Yeah,
half the time I don't know. And in like the book I'm working on now, I like to have a lot of possibilities, but I'm not quite sure who the villain is.
I
So,
love that.
but but I like, but and to do that, I have to give several people motive, means, and opportunity. So that, and that's basically, I'm pretty sure I know who. I always have more than one antagonist, so pretty sure I know who one of them is, and but that can change.
Yeah. Well,
I
and
mean,
you've got 6 weeks, so a
I
lot can change
know.
in 6 weeks.
Well, as the story unfolds, and it's amazing to me how these stories, and I think people talked about, how do you do that? And I said, well, it has to be a gift,
Mhm.
because if it's not, I don't think you can write if it's not a gift.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think you're right.
yeah, I mean, James Scott Bell talks about that you can't learn how to write, that people had told him you can't learn how to write. And that's probably true unless you have a gift. If you have the gift of storytelling, then you do learn how to write. You learn that, and that's one of the things I always tell a new author is what learn the rules so that you know when to break them and how to break them.
Mhm.
Learn how it's supposed to be. Learn that it's a 3 act or 4 act structure. Uh, that there are certain things that readers expect, and that you need to know what they are.
Yeah, I love that. So, if you could go back, we've got time for like 2 more questions, but if you could go back to the beginning and give yourself advice as you were starting out, would it be that learn the rules so that you could break them?
That would be that, and also that publishing takes a long time. It's a very slow. If you're traditionally published, it's a very slow process,
Yeah,
and, and you're not going. It takes time.
that it does. So be patient.
Be patient. And that's what, one time I had a log line under my email that said, I asked God about patience and he gave me a book to write.
I love that. That is so true.
Sure.
Because even just the act of writing it takes so much time. And then
Yeah.
when you're seeking that first contract, you've just got
Right.
to be patient because so much of it's out
And
of your
you,
control.
yeah, and you've got to learn the discipline before you get that contract of finishing something,
Yeah,
because you're going to have to finish one right after another.
that is so
Okay.
true. Yes. And they just come and
Yeah.
like dominoes, like
I-
dominoes. All right. So last question for you. How do you celebrate when you finish a book? Because you've got a deadline coming in November.
yeah.
How are you going to celebrate?
I am probably going to, I have not been to my sister's for Thanksgiving since 2014, since my
Oh,
first book release. So well, 2013 actually was the last one. So I'm going to my sister's for Thanksgiving and then to my daughter's in South Florida for Christmas, something I have not been able to do because of deadlines.
I think that sounds like a fabulous way to celebrate. You have earned it.
Most of the time I celebrate by starting another book. But this
Yeah, we do. We
time,
just turn around to the next one, don't we?
but this time, I am spacing my books a little bit further out to give me more family time because I have written 18 books since 2013. And most of them, 90 to 100,000. I
That's a
had
lot of
two,
words.
I know, and I had two Harlequin heartwarmings that in those. I mean, that's just the ones for Ravel, the series that I've been working on. And then I did two heartwarming and I've done 5 novellas. And I have done nothing. I think I was trying to think, I had counted up how many words I had written since 2013, and it was well over 1.5 million.
Yeah, and that doesn't count all the ones that got deleted out
Right.
and edited out, and that's a scary thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Pat. I love the fact that we can celebrate the
Yeah.
release of your new book, Deadly Revenge. And where can readers connect with you?
Um, I have a blog and I mean, I have a website, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have a mystery question where I make up one question, like crazy state laws right now. There are 3 true ones and one crazy one that I made up. And my blog readers guess which one it is. And then on Fridays, I do the reader, I review a book that I've read. And then I'm on Facebook and Pinterest. And I did my first TikTok yesterday.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, my cat was chasing his tail and I got it on video.
Oh, look at you staying up with all the social. So,
Uh,
yeah, that's great. So be sure to check out Pat and all of her books. But the new one, Deadly Revenge, releases on November 5th, and it is classic page-turning romantic suspense. Thanks again for joining me.
oh, thank you for letting me come.